Hello again, and I would like to do something a little bit different at this moment. If the gods of reel-to-reel machines were given the prizes for the sheer beauty, then Lyric or Lyrec, any way your pronunciation might be, Frida would probably have won this contest hands down, as it is easily one of the most gorgeous, most beautiful machines ever made. Frida is deceptively small, almost minute. Its dimensions are essentially that of a good-sized briefcase, and it weighs about the same as a heavily loaded briefcase would have. But let's not those looks and feels fool you. It is a professional machine. Yes, it's diminutive in size, but it is a professional machine capable of 11.5-inch reels, and it will run those reels with aplomb. It got very professional features to it. It is not a feature-poor machine by any stretch of imagination. And we'll talk about those features in a second, in a little bit more appropriate and lengthy discussion. But at this point, just one look at this machine pretty much stops you in your tracks. Just look at this machine from this perspective. Take a look at the case depth. It is only about 3 inches thin. I don't want to say heavy or thick, because it is very, very skinny looking package. But somehow they managed to put inside very powerful reel motors and a lot of electronics. And it will run for a long time without overheating or experiencing any serious issues. Yes, there is a continuous discussion on capstan motor noises for this particular machine, and yes, I would like to see it a little bit quieter. There is a bit of noise audible from close distance, but normally in normal high-end environment the machine would not be close to your sitting position, so overall it's not such a big deal. Yes, that you might consider this a blemish on its reputation, but it is a very minor one. Now, this machine is very desirable, but it's also very hard to find, especially in this near mint condition, like what you're seeing here. This particular sample is very much blemish-free, but amazingly, when it came to me, it had a problem. The pinch roller would move freely up and down. It was not supported from the bottom. And it was obvious that somebody took it apart and forgot to put a little bushing under this roller. Well, it was a little bit unfortunate, but it was easy to correct. I just had to machine the proper size bushing, and it's been running fine since then. Another issue when I received this machine was it simply refused to work. But it turned out that on a trip from Italy, where I bought it, some circuit boards moved from their connectors, and all it took was simply pushing those boards into the connectors back, and the machine started working flawlessly. Here is a clean view of the head block of the Lyrec machine, and here is the cover. As you can see, it's pretty much completely blemish-free. Yes, it could be cleaned just slightly here, but overall it is very, very clean. As I mentioned, this machine is a professional grade apparatus, so it's not shy on features. For example, it has 3 speeds, 3.75, 7.5, and 15 inches per second, and of course it is a 2-track machine. You have normal controls associated with recording, like radio 1 and 2, and you have timer reset on off, and this is a very nice feature which allows you to go to either 0 point or to the last one you used. That's a very nice touch. I like that. Most machines, even of the caliber of Studer A820, will have a return to 0, and sometimes that would be it. Yes, some machines will have very elaborate search functions, but this is very, very simple arrangement that doesn't take much time to learn at all, and it is very functional. Another feature I love about this machine is this edit knob, and we'll talk about it a little bit later once we put the tape on it. I just love this feature. I wish more machines had it. And of course, being high-grade professional machine, it had to have tape tension controls. And here you have it in full-blown shape. There is one on each side, and they work very well. Except you need to know how to use them, because they can get you in trouble if you do something stupid, like what I did when I received the machine. Just like they say, read the manual. Like I said, it is a super desirable machine, very hard to find at reasonable price, but even more desirable is this particular feature, which is the stand or leg. And you can see it got simple attachment here, which is actually very clever. The way it's done inside, it's very clever. Most machines on the market will not have this leg present. It will be either lost or not purchased originally. And people have been searching desperately for this, I don't know what called, handle, left leg, whatever, without much success. Since I also experienced that lack of success, I just made one myself. It is slightly different from the original Lyrec stand, but it's functional. And I like it a little bit taller than the original one because it provides very nice view of the machine. Since I posted the original video on Frida, some people asked me whether I could make them this particular leg. And I say, no, guys, please don't ask me. It's too much work. I just do it as an amateur machinist for myself. I'm not equipped to produce parts in any volume. But I can give you good advice. And basically, the manual has a very clear description of how this part's supposed to work. And you can take it from there. Otherwise, it's not very hard to make part. I'm doing this video today because I realized my original video on that machine is very old and it was not very informative. So today I will try to cover more details about this wonderful piece of gear. So let's now put on the tape and see how it does it. Let's start with the real size. I mentioned it was 11.5 inches. In reality, it's closer to 12. It's almost 12 inches, so I would call it that way. The tape loading is fairly conventional. You just go around like that. Be careful, at this point the machine doesn't have any brakes, so the reel is free to spin. So make sure you don't give it any push, or it might spill your tape on the floor. Just be reasonably careful. You see there is plenty of tape loop sometimes forming there. Just be reasonably careful. So once you have done that, make sure to press this button. And now watch those levers. You see, the machine has just established the proper tension. So at this point it's ready to go. You can start rewinding. You can engage play. All the normal things you would normally do with your machine. Except now, I mentioned this particular control that I like. Watch what happens if you press those two buttons. Now it becomes the speed control. And you can vary it continuously from 0 to this change in direction and variable speed rewind. And I like that feature very much. It's probably the best execution of many other machines on the market. I simply love it. And this is what I would normally use for fast rewind. I usually try not to go any faster because I value my tapes. The tapes don't come cheaply, and therefore you would like to give them all the protection you could. And for this reason, slow rewind is always the best way to approach it. I have very fast machines in this park. Ampex, Studer, they can rewind at crazy speed. It looks totally crazy and scary when you rewind in 14-inch reels. So for this reason, I never use full speed rewind. I always go for the slow speed. And if you watch here, take a look at the quality of the pack. It's flawless. It's like a piece of glass. That's what this machine is capable of. So all told, Frida is an incredible joy to behold and to operate. Yes, it requires somewhat gentle touch, unlike some other machines like the brutal Ampex ATR 102. That one is a beast. And Frida is a beautiful ballerina by comparison. You don't force it to carry heavy bags of coal, but you enjoy your company very, very much so. It is well laid out, so you see a lot of calibration controls behind this little swing out panel. And there are more controls, the trim pads on the left. Overall, the calibration of this machine is not ridiculously complicated. Yes, it's slightly different from some other machines, but not ridiculously so. You can learn to calibrate Frida in maybe 20 minutes. You see there are some special switches that you normally don't see on other machines, and you can see equalization switch and some other ones. Output, input, calibrated variable, normal stuff you see sometimes or most of the time on professional machines. Once again, as I mentioned, Frida doesn't have typical mechanical brakes, so once it stops rewinding, it will keep spinning this reel. It's essentially free spinning at this point. So bear it in mind when you are operating the machine. Now, a couple other points about this machine. Number one, how is this machine's sound quality? Well, I would put it as unremarkable. I think it's a little bit constrained. You don't hear the freedom. You don't hear the sound flutter around your room. The sound is a little bit grounded and a little bit constricted, if you will. So would I make this machine my critical listening machine when I received a new tape and I wanted to know how it sounds? No. I have machines that sound much, much better. But Frida is one of the things that you enjoy working with. So even though it is not your go-to machine, it is still something you should be using every now and then, because you derive enormous pleasure from touching it, working with it, just looking at it. And it is not an inexpensive machine to have. They used to be more reasonably priced, but lately I've seen them offered, when they are offered, which is not very often, at astronomically high prices. But so bottom line is, if you find one for a reasonable amount and in good condition, maybe serviced and guaranteed to work, like in my case it was guaranteed to work, and I trusted that gentleman. I actually bought both Frida and Fred from that guy, and I received very good deal and the perfect delivery, and everything was fine. I was happy with that. But be careful, because servicing this machine is not the easiest job around. I don't know if you live in Europe, that might be different, but in the US, I don't know where I would go if my machine failed and I needed service. So bear that in mind. It is definitely not your workhorse go-to tape recorder for playing routine playing of your high-quality tapes. So treat it as a good wine, if you will. So for normal days, you take something that costs a reasonable amount and still works very well. But on some occasions, you would like to treat yourself to some beauty and whatnot. And in this case, Frida might be just the ticket for that. Yes, it's to some degree decadent, but I mean, life is short, so enjoy what you can. And Frida is not astronomically expensive. Yes, it's on the expensive side, but it's nowhere near some other machines for which people sometimes pay amount equal to very high quality used car. No, it's far more affordable. And so with all this out of the way, let's just enjoy the sound. We'll play one more track. And let me know if you have any questions about this wonderful piece of gear. I haven't worked on that piece for a long time since I received the machine, what, probably like 3-4 years ago. It's been working fine since then, so I never had any need for that. So who knows what's in the future. But for now, let's sit back and listen to this track. So that was the sound of the beautiful Frida. Whether you call it Lyric or Lyrec, it doesn't really matter. It is a very, very good product. The company also made the bigger professional grade console type machine, and you can see it sometimes up for sale. I don't know how good it is. I never had any experience with it, but I'm kind of intrigued by it. Anyway, that's enough of the story for today. I hope to see you next time. We'll talk about something different, maybe. But in the meantime, please stay well and come back. I will be waiting for you. Bye-bye.